Okay, so previously we've looked at converting between percentages and decimals and vice versa, and also percentages to fractions and vice versa. But now to the final part of the triangle, which is looking at converting between fractions to decimals and vice versa. So let's get straight into it without further ado. And I've got this up here to refer to, which is going to be useful. Okay, so the first one is saying convert these fractions to decimals. Now to get from a fraction to a decimal, you want to do your top number divided by the bottom number. Because by definition, right, 3 over 10 means 3 divided by 10. So again, to make it really clear, this means 3 divided by 10. And look, I've written here we do the top divided by bottom. Okay, there's other ways you can do this, but for the first one, I will go through it like this. So 3 divided by 10, using bus stop, we're really saying how many 10s go into the number 3. And of course, 10 is bigger than 3, so what I need to go and do is write 3 a bit differently as 3.0. And I might need some more zeros, as you'll see later, so I'm going to add on a few zeros here, okay? This 3.000 is the same thing as 3, okay? I'm just adding on some zeros. There we go, good, it's the same number. Now, 10 into 3, of course, is too big, so it goes in 0 times. I bring up my points up to here, and I carry that 3. So 10 into 30 goes exactly 3 times. And because it goes in exactly 3 times, I finish there. So my answer is simply going to be 0.3. So 0.3 is my answer. Now, I could have done this a little bit differently. I could have done this like this, if I write it down here. So we've got 3 over 10. What I could have done, potentially, is maybe done something like this. I could have times the 3 by 10 and the 10 by 10, because then, right, I would get 30 over 100, and you might know that 30 over 100 is simply going to be 0.30 or 0.3. Okay, so sort of two different ways of getting it, but this idea is useful for when your fractions get more difficult, like in question 3, as you're going to see later. But you can see both ways we get to the same answer of 0.3. Okay, question 2, and actually this time for this question, right, I could go and do it again, because this means 17 divided by 20, I could go and do a bit of bus stop, but actually this one's going to be easier because 17 is quite an awkward number to use. I'm going to go and multiply the fraction by 5 on the bottom to get me to 100, and do the times it 3 by 5 on top, because that's going to give me, well, 17 times by 5 is equal to 85, so 85 over 20 times 5 is 100. Now, 85 over 100 is simply just going to be 0.885. Okay, so in this one, I would actually not use this method. I would get my fraction to be out of 100, because then I can just read it to be 0.85. If you wanted to, you could have done bus stop and you could have said how many 20s go into 17 and add on a few zeros here and go, well, 20 into 17 is obviously too big, so then you bring up our points, carry that 17. 20 into 17 goes exactly 8 times with 10 left over, so we carry a 10. 20 into 100 goes exactly 5 times, and you still get the same answer of this. So two different methods here, but it's kind of looking at what your fraction is and going from there, really. Because in the last one, right, to get 7 to 100, right, is difficult. So this method of doing the top number divided by the bottom number is going to be a lot better. So we're going to be doing here 2 divided by 7. Or in other words, using bus stop, how many 7s go into the number 2. And this one's going to be a bit of an awkward fraction, as you're going to see. So I'm going to go and add on quite a few zeros here, because you're going to see it takes quite a long time for this one to kind of come to an end. So what I'm going to do here is, because it's going to be quite a long one, I'm actually going to write up my 7 times table, because it's going to be useful, as you're going to see in a second over here. So we can refer to how many times our number is going to go into another number over here. But you'll see why this is useful in a second. Okay, so just do a few, and hopefully that should be enough up to the 10 times 7. So 7 into 2, of course, is too big, so 0, bring up your points, and we go and carry that 2. 7 into 20 goes exactly 2 times. If I go 3 times, I go too big, so if I get to 14, which is 2 times 14 to 20, I've got 6 left over. Now 7 into 60 goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times before I go too big, so 8, and I'm at 56, so I've got 4 left over. And now 7 into 40 is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times before I go too big, so 5. I'm at 35, I want 40, so carry a 5 over. And now 7 into 50 is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times to get me to 49. I've got 1 left over. Now 7 into 10 is going to go 1 time with 3 left over. 7 into 30 is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 times with 2 left over. And this is now good because you can see, right, I had a 2 at the start and a 2 at the end. Now, hopefully, my decimal should start kind of repeating again. But I'll do a few more just to show you what I mean by that. So if I carry this on again, and carry on a few more zeros, 0, 0, you're going to see my decimal is now going to start repeating from here up to this point here. Now, 7 into 20, okay, again goes, well, 2 times, so 2 to get me to 14, remainder 6. So I can see I've had a 2 and a 6, a 2 and a 6, good. 7 into 60 again is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, remainder 4 before it gets too big, so carry that 4. 7 into 40 is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, remainder 5, okay, so remainder 5, and you can see, right, the pattern. I had the, if I get my highlighter out, I had the 2, 6, 4, I've got the, 2, 6, I've missed a gap there, sorry, but 2, 6, 4, right, sorry, that was a bit of a mistake. That should have, it should be the 4 here and then the 5 here. But I think you hopefully get the picture. So 2, 6, 4, 2, 6, 4, 5, 5. You can see they're repeating, okay? And that's important because this part here, the 2, 8, 5, 7, 1, 4, is just going to keep repeating. Okay, so you could keep going with this and you would see that this keeps repeating. So 285, 714, 714, and then it would repeat again. Okay, so let's do a bit of a line here. There we go. And then if you keep doing the bus stop, which I'm not going to go and do, but then you would see that it repeats again. So you'd get 2, 8, 5, 7, 1, 4. Okay, and then it would repeat again. So this one's a bit of an awkward one, but 2 over 7 is the same thing as, and we write it as this, as 0.285714. And because the decimal repeats from here to here, the way that we write this is we put a dot over the first 2 and a dot over the last 4 because it repeats between this first number and this last number. Okay, so this one is a bit trickier, but that's why using the bus stop method is particularly useful in this question. Okay, and that is your answer down here, 0.285714. Okay, you can now try the your turns on the right. You can pause the video and then you can sort of skip to see what the answers are. And if you need to go through them, you can go through them with me. So again, we're going to be converting the fractions into decimals. And the first one, let's now go through it. Oh, I've lost my pen. Where's it gone? Can't see it. There we go. The first one, right, I've got here, you can do top divided by bottom. So we're doing 7 divided by 10 again, of course. So you could use bus stop. So we're doing here, how many 10s go into your number 7? Well, of course, 10 is bigger than 7, so we're going to add on a few more zeros here. Well, 10 into 7 doesn't go, so we can bring up the points and carry that as 7. 10 into 70 goes exactly 7 times, so it's just going to be simply 0.7. And that is your first answer. Okay, but again, you could have maybe times the 7 by 10, okay, and a 10 by 10 to give you 70 over 100, which you would also see is also 0.7, but I didn't do it that way. But for the next one, because 23 over 25, the 23 is quite an awkward number, to go and do 23 divided by 25, it's just a bit of an awkward calculation to do. So this time, to make it a little bit easier, I've spotted that my denominator is 25, which I can easily get to 100 by timesing through by 4, and the same on the top, timesing through by 4. And I can go and do, well, 23 times by 4 is equal to 92. Okay, so 92 over 25 by 4 is equal to 100. Okay, and this is simply going to be over 100, it's going to simply be 0.92 as my answer there. Okay, I could have done how many 25s go into 23 and use bus stop, so top divided by bottom, 25 into 23, but you know, this is just a lot more awkward to do. So I spotted that this number easily goes into 100, so I could do it by timesing through by 4. Now question 3, 9 doesn't easily go into 100. It's not a factor without a remainder, so this one is going to be definitely using top divided by bottom, so 4 divided by 9, using a bit of bus stop. Okay, so we're saying how many 9s go into my number 4, and of course it's not going to go in easily, so let's go and add in quite a few zeros because we might need them. And also, in addition, I'm going to write up my 9 times table because it could be useful to refer to. So 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81. And that should be enough up to 90. 9 into 4, of course, is too big. So 0, we bring up the point and we carry that 4. 9 into 40 goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times before I get too big. So 4 gets me to 36, remainder a 4. And actually, right, this one, right, 9 into 40, again, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so again, 4 times with a remainder of 4. Okay, so you can see what's going to be happening here. 9 into 40 again, 4, remainder 4. We're just going to be getting the same thing going over and over again. Okay, so actually this one is quite nice and straightforward. Right, 4 into 4 divided by 9 is simply 0.444444 for so on forever, which means you can write it as 0.4 recurring. That recurring means the same thing as this. Yeah, but just a much neater way of writing it. And actually, we can check this on the calculator. We can type in just to check this answer is correct. It is correct, but we can check it by doing, well, 4 over 9 we know means 4 divided by 9. Enter it and then press into decimal mode, and you can see there you go, 0.4 recurring. So definitely all good in the hood, all correct. So there we go, finished. So if you got those 3 correct, well done. We can now look at converting this time from decimals into fractions, and this one's a little bit easier. Okay, all we do to get from a decimal to a fraction, which is this way, is you go the number over the place value holder. Okay, so just make a bit of a note up here. We'll do it in green. If we have a number like, let's do this in up here. If we have 0.214, just to make sure we know again, the 0 that is the units column or the ones column. That's the units column. Ooh, what's happening there? The units. I can't write on there. That's weird. Okay, ones column. It's not letting me write there. That's weird. Let's do that down here. This is the unit column. You've got the point. You've then got the 2, which is in the 10th column. So the 1 over 10 column. You've then got the 1 next to it, which is in the hundredths column, or 1 over 100. And you've got the 4, which is in the 1000ths column. So 1 over 1000. So all I mean here is, right, for the first one, we've got 0.6. Well, my number here is that 6. So it's going to be, let's do it in red. It's going to be equal to 6 over, and because the 6 is in the tens column, it's going to be out of 10. Okay, so 0.6 is equal to 6 over 10, which is correct, but as a fraction, but we can make it simpler because 6 and 10 have a common factor of 2 because they're both even. So we can divide the top here by 2 and divide the bottom here by 2. Okay, to give us 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. So 0.6 is the same thing as a fraction as 6/10, but it's simplified. 3 over 5 is a better answer. Okay, so this one here is a better answer. But this is also correct. They're equivalent fractions. This is equivalent to this, but of course this is simplified. And we always simplify our fractions. Now the next one, we've got 0.22. Okay, so again, your number is just 22. So it's going to be equal to 22 over the place value holder. Well, we get up to this 2 here, which is in the hundredths column. So it's going to be 22 out of 100. Okay, and again, that is correct. Decimal into fraction, they mean the same thing, but we can simplify this. Okay, they both have a common factor of 2 because they're both even. So I can divide by 2. I can divide by 2 again. Now, 22 divided by 2 is equal to 11, and 100 divided by 2 is equal to 50. And because 11 is prime, I can't simplify the fraction any further for sure. So this is definitely my answer. But again, this is correct, but we always simplify the fractions, so this is a much better way of writing it. Okay, the next one, we've got 0.03, and this one here, your number is the 3, okay, or 0.3, but we're just going to write it as 3, and that 3 is in the 100ths column. It's going to be out of 100. And because 3 is prime, there won't be any factors of 3 and 100, so we can simply have this as our answer. Okay, so 3 over 100. Next one, 0.17. Well, 0.17, again, your number is 17 over the 7, which is in the hundredths column. So it's going to be 0.17 over 100. And again, 17 is prime, so you can't simplify this fraction any further. So this is going to be your answer. The last one, we've got 0.219, okay, and your number is 219 over, well, the 9 this time is in the thousandths column, so over 1,000. Now, can we simplify this any further? 219, 11, 12. I don't think we can. I'm just going to be really lazy here and just double check in case I make a mistake. I don't think we can simplify that any further. We can check by putting this on a calculator. If I type in 219 over 1,000 and I press equals, yeah, it's just kept it as 219 over 1,000. There are no common factors of 219 or 1,000 other than 1, so you can't simplify that. Okay, so simply your last one, you just keep it as 219 over 1,000. Okay, you can now try the ones on the right, and that's going to be it for this video. So, let's go to that. The first one, convert these decimals into fractions. Again, we're going to put our number over the place value holder. So your number here is simply 44. So it's going to be 44 over the place value holder of that last 4 is in the hundreds column, so over 100. Okay, that is correct. Decimal fractions, they mean the same thing, but we can simplify this fraction by dividing here. You could divide by 2 and then divide by 2 again, but I know that 4 is a common factor of 44 and 100. So I can divide both by 4 and do 44 divided by 4 is equal to 11. 100 divided by 4 is equal to 25. And because 11 is prime, I definitely know that there's going to be no more factors of both 11 and 25. So simply, that is my answer. Okay. And we can always check, right? Because if we type in our calculator, if we type in 11 divided by 25, so 11 over 25, and press equal to that and get it into a decimal, you should get 0.44, so correct. Okay, so all good. Okay, your next question, we've got 0.23. So simply it's going to be equal to your number, which is 23. So 23 over the last digit of the place value holder. That 3 is in the hundreds column again. So 23 over 100. Okay, and because 23 is a prime number, you can't simplify that any further. So definitely, this is your answer. Your next one, we've got 0.007. So your number here is 7. So it's going to be 7 over not tens, not hundreds, but it's going to be in the thousands column. Okay, so it's going to be over 1,000. Okay, because we're 1, 2, 3 in, so 1, 2, 3 in is over 1,000. And again, because 7 is a prime number, there's going to be no more factors of 7 and 1,000 other than 1. So simply, that is your answer. Good. Last one, we've got second task, we've got 0.05. Your number here is going to be 5. So 5 over the place value holder. That 5 is in the hundreds column, so over 100. So 5 over 100. And because 5 is prime, you can't simplify that fraction any further. So you just keep it as 5. Oh no, sorry. Right. We can simplify this. Sorry, that was really, really silly. Right. We can divide. We can divide the 5 and 100 by 5, divided by 5, and divided through by 5. 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1. 100 divided by 5 is equal to 20, so 1 over 20. Now, let's highlight our answer. There we go. Okay, good. And again, we can check it on a calculator. We can just go and get the calculator up, and we can refresh this and do, well, 1 divided by 20, okay, is equal to fraction 0.05. So there we go. Good. Last but not least, we've got 0.9. So this one is going to be your number, which is 9. So equal to 9 over, this column is in the tenths column, so 9 over 10 is going to be your answer for the last one. There we go. Okay, good. So if you got all of those correct and you fast forwarded to the end of the video, well done. You can now convert between fractions and decimals and vice versa. Thank you for watching.